Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be converting from binary to decimal. So to start off with, we need a binary number. So we're just going to create a binary number. It doesn't actually matter what it is, but for this example we'll just make up a binary number. So we'll say 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0. So in this number we have 8 digits. So in this example we have 8 digits, or we can call them 8 bits. And what we want to do with these 8 bits is we want to find out what number this actually is in the base 10 system that we're normally dealing with. So if you remember from our last video, when we worked with binary, we needed to look at the power of 2's. So for each of these digits here, they're associated with a power of 2. So for example, this one here would be 2 to the power of 0. This would be 2 to the power of 1, and so on and so on. So I'm just going to fill these in. 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 5, 2 to the power of 6, and 2 to the power of 7. So we're going to do some calculations now. You can use your calculator if you want, but after you've done this a few times, you can actually memorize all the different numbers. So you'll know that 2 times 2 to the power of 0 is 1, and you'll know that 2 to the power of 1 is 2, and so on, so on. So this next one here will be 4. You can check this on your calculator if you wish, and you'll see we get up to quite a big number pretty fast. So we have 32, we have 64, and we have 128. So we need to go and start to look at our binary number here. So we can start off by looking at it on the left hand side. So we can see that 128 here, which is 2 to the power of 7, has got a 1. So if it's got a 1, it means that this placeholder is being used. So another way of thinking about this is we can say 128 plus whatever else we've got here, or whatever else is 1. So when we go to our next step here, and this is 2 to the power of 6, and 2 to the power of 6 is equal to 64, but this isn't 1, this is 0. So if we were to multiply 64 by 0, it would be 0. So we can write down 0 here if we want, or if you want, you can just ignore it. This 128 here had a 1, so we couldn't ignore it. That's why we wrote down 128. But we'll write down the 0 here just to make it a little bit more clear. So next we're going to have to add in this column. So it's quite similar to the 64 because it's got a 0. So we can just put down a 0 here. Again, as you move on to your second example or third example, you don't have to put in these zeros, you can just write down the number itself. So now we get to 16, we can see that 16 has got a 1, so we have to add 16 to this. And we'll put in a plus as well, and 8 has actually got a 1 as well, so we have to also add 8. And we'll do another plus. Now we can see that 4 has 0, so 4 times 0 is 0. So then we'll add in 2, so 2 times 1 is 2. And we can see for the last element that we've also got 0 as well, so we can just add in 0 or nothing. So now that we see this, we have to add up all these elements. So if you add up all these together, you'll find out that the total will be equal to 154. Now, another way you can actually do this is if you have, let's say, a number, for example. Let's imagine you had the number 154, right? So if we have the number 154 and we want to go and convert this into binary, so this time we're given a number and we want to convert into binary, what we could do is we could get our number that we're given, so 154. So keep in mind this is a brand new example. our aim over here was to convert from binary to decimal. So that's what we've done. So this is our binary number. We've added up our bits. We've calculated that the decimal form is 154. So we've done that. Now we're moving on to a new example. So given 154, we want to go and get this number. So this binary number, or this binary representation. So with our given number, we need to take away something from it. Okay, so the first thing we need to see is, we will go to the far left and we'll see if it's possible for 128 to be taken from 54. So if we take 128 from 54, we can do this without getting a negative value. So we'll say 128. And we'll draw a little chart down here at the bottom so that we can keep track of what we're taking away. So we can start off with, let's say, our first one here, which would be 1, because we can take off 128. Then after we take 128 from 154, we are left with 26. So we've got 26, so we can put 26 down here. Now we want to take away a number from 26. So if we go here and we look at the next number which can be used, which is 64, we can't take 64 away from 26 because we're going to end up with a negative number, and we don't want that. So we're going to add in a 0 here because we cannot use 64. Similar to 32, we're going to look at 32 and see, can we take 32 away from 26 without leaving a negative number? And we cannot do this either, so we're going to put in another 0. Now we go and we look at 16. So we can actually take 16 from 26 and not be left with a negative number. So 16 minus 26 will leave us with 10. So we can actually add in a 1 here because we've taken 16 away. Now we've got 10 left. Again, we've got a number, it's not 0, so we need to take away. So when we go over here and we look at 8, we can see that we can take 8 from 10, so this is brilliant. So 8 minus 10 will leave us with 2. So then we can bring 2 over here. Now remember, since we've taken 8 away, we can add our 1 down here. Now we've got 2, and now we're looking to take something else away from 2. So if we move on to 4, which is the next smallest number, 2 is smaller than 4, so we cannot take 4 away, so we need to put a 0 here. Then if we go up here and we look, okay, this is 2, so we can actually take 2 from 2. It'll leave us with exactly 0, but that's okay once it's not a negative number. So we can take 2 from 2, we've got 0, and now we can add a 1 in here. And once we've got to 0, we can just fill the rest in with zeros because we know we've got to 0. But we'll just go through this step as we did with the other examples. So we are left here with 0. So if we want to try and take something away from 0, it's not going to work. So we can see if we try and take 1 from 0, it's going to leave us with a negative number. So there's no point in even doing this step, but we just skip that bit and we put in a 0 at the end. So remember, when you get to 0 here, you can fill the rest of the bits in with 0. And if you go and check this binary number here against the one up here that we started with, they're exactly the same. So you always want to check for this.